Good morning, time to work out.
You'll hear that through the mic and through the stream. Henry, are you going to be a potato? Why don't you come over here and chill, man? I'm going to be listening to the Invisible Man, not the Incredible Man. Probably called the Incredible Man. But I guess we're just going to listen to Henry bark for a while, because I want to get this workout done. I got a project for work that I got to do today. It won't be too bad. It'll take a few hours probably. I'm going to switch over. I don't have to get up. I was going to say I need to get up. Can I not change over the scene? I guess not. So I definitely have to do it from here. Hey buddy. Yeah, you're getting in there. You chill. You don't need to go upstairs. In game. Check back over on this page and make sure it switches. I lowered back resolution and bit rate. USB camera not on. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to go back over. I need to just open this back up. Henry, stop it, buddy. Why isn't our USB camera working? Close up. On there. Oh, because I hit in game. I hit in game and not I work out. There you go. That's just how that works. You don't do it right, it doesn't work. Pretty simple. So let's hit multi-stream and click back over here and then adjust down it just a little bit. I can see the mini feed. I can see the multi-stream chat. Here. Alright, Henry, I'm going to put you up on your futon. I'm pretty sure you're going to hop right down, but you know what? I'm going to give you one more chance. Up there. And I'm going to work out. Done. Fairly busy day, or at least until I finish everything. Got a couple meetings, or at least one meeting. Usually we have a big 2-hour meeting on Fridays, but I didn't see it on my calendar, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Good boy. Yeah, bite my finger. Good dog. Good dog. Yeah, you want to horn in here. You want my attention? Well, I gotta do my workout. Yeah, I need to do my workout. It's really helping. I'm feeling a lot better. Hell, I'm feeling better. We got everything ready there. Well, I guess I'm covered up. I can't see my own self on my camera. But that's okay. I don't need to. Dog, seriously. Sit down. Okay, go do whatever you want, but I'm working out. Here we go. We're started. 4.5 minutes. That's pushing it. It should only take a couple of minutes to get started, not 4.5 minutes. Alright, good deal. Good morning, Internet. Got a good night's sleep, went to bed kind of early. Feeling kind of tired along. So I streamed till what, 8, and Henry had to go dog walking. So we got all the dog walking done, and I ate some food. By about, it wasn't even 9:30, it was like 9:20 or something. I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm just gonna go to bed. Because I could have woke up early this morning, or if not, I'll just get a really good night's sleep. As far as I know, I did, although I'm just yawning right there, but yeah, I think I got a pretty good night's sleep. Didn't look at my Amazon Halo app yet. It gives me like a sleep grade. What I really need to look at is my CPAP app, because I'm worried. I'm waking up with my mouth super dry. Worried that my CPAP isn't working quite right. I need to look at getting a full face mask for my CPAP. I've always used the nose. I don't know if I just need to talk to the people at the CPAP company or if I need to talk to my pulmonologist. I think I've seen my pulmonologist. I don't know, maybe I did early at the beginning of this year. I mean, it wasn't the actual pulmonologist. I saw like PA, physician assistant. Can't remember if that was this year or last year. It's already July. It could have been this year. I don't know. Anyway, I have no idea how good the internet's working. So I just cranked down. I put my settings back to 540. I said I was just going to leave it. But then last night, my internet switched over. So the internet that I use is through T-Mobile. They have this, box. It's really round. It's like a round cylinder. It's essentially an LTE modem router combination. But on the back end, whenever you do a speed test, it'll tell you where you're connected to. And for whatever reason, once I hit the tower, the internet through that tower, wherever I live, there's a tower. I've looked at the maps. You can find, on the internet, you can find towers because the FCC regulates all that. All the cell phone towers locations are known. You can find them on a map, and so you can find exactly where the nearest Sprint, AT&T, Verizon. Now it can be a little bit tricky because they're not necessarily labeled that way. Sometimes the towers are owned by third parties and they contract and stuff, but if you try, you can figure out which tower near you is a Sprint tower, etc. And of course now T-Mobile and Sprint merged, so I don't know about that. I hadn't thought about that. Because technically the Sprint tower is closer than the T-Mobile tower. I don't know if that's good or bad. Probably doesn't matter yet, even though they merged. I'm sure the back end stuff's probably all separate. I don't know. Anyway, my point is that whenever I do a speed test, it'll come back and say either Chicago, which forever I was connected through Chicago. In fact, until the Sprint merger, I don't think it ever showed anything but Chicago, which this actually goes to the possibility that I'm connecting through the other tower, the Sprint tower. I hadn't thought about that until just now. Maybe I'm bouncing between the two towers. I don't know. But it used to only show me going through Chicago, so all geolocation stuff showed that I was in Chicago. If I put in Taco Bell, the nearest location, it would say, here's one in, wherever in Chicago. Now, it varies. Sometimes it's Chicago still, but often now it's either Denver or Atlanta. And for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure it's Atlanta has the worst upload speed. Denver has really good download and upload speed. But at any given moment, I believe it can change. So I'll get on there and do a speed test. It shows Denver 150 meg down, which is insane. And then like 7 or 8 up, which is great. Because doing 720p resolution, the most I'm ever going to set it is like 4,000. Well, the problem is if it changes in the middle of a stream, and it flips to Atlanta, and now I only have like 1,500 up, and I'm trying to do 3,000 or whatever. Anyway, Tech Talk. I don't know why it flips around on the back end. I thought maybe they were doing some work and that was causing it, but now maybe I think it's just random. But I hadn't thought about the possibility that it's trying to connect through the other spring tower. I don't know how that would, when two companies merge like that, how much of the back end systems really get changed around. Is it just the ownership that changes? Leave all the old phones connected through the same place? I don't know. Anyway, I want to finish this book. Alexa, read The Invisible Man from Kindle.
Resuming The Invisible Man, Amazon Classics Edition. There are 33 minutes left in the book. The spectacular quality of my sensations was curious and novel, but for all that I was heartily tired and angry long before he had done his eating. But at last he made an end, and putting his beggarly crockery on the black tin tray, upon which he had had his teapot, and gathering all the crumbs up on the mustard-stained cloth, he took the whole lot of things after him. His burden prevented his shutting the door behind him, as he would have done. I never saw such a man for shutting doors, and I followed him into a very dirty underground kitchen and scullery. I had the pleasure of seeing him begin to wash up, and then, finding no good in keeping down there, and the brick floor being cold on my feet, I returned upstairs and sat in his chair by the fire. It was burning low, and scarcely thinking, I put on a little coal. The noise of this brought him up at once, and he stood aglare. He peered about the room and was within an ace of touching me. Even after that examination, he scarcely seemed satisfied. He stopped in the doorway and took a final inspection before he went down. I waited in the little parlor for an age, and at last he came up and opened the upstairs door. I just managed to get by him. On the staircase he stopped suddenly, so that I very nearly blundered into him. He stood looking back right into my face and listening. I could have sworn, he said. His long hairy hand pulled at his lower lip. As I went up and down the staircase, then he grunted and went on up again. His hand was on the handle of the door, and then he stopped again with the same puzzled anger on his face. I was becoming aware of the faint sounds of my movements about him. The man must have had diabolically acute hearing. He suddenly flashed into rage. If there's anyone in this house, he cried with an oath, and left the threat unfinished. He put his hand in his pocket, failed to find what he wanted, and rushing past me went blundering noisily and pugnacious stairs. But I did not follow him. I sat on the head of the staircase until his return. Presently he came up again, still muttering. He opened the door of the room, and before I could enter, slammed it in my face. I resolved to explore the house, and spent some time in doing so as noiselessly as possible. The house was very old and tumble down, damp so that the paper in the attics was peeling from the walls, and rat-infested. Some of the door handles were stiff, and I was afraid to turn them. Several rooms I did inspect were unfurnished, and others were littered with theatrical lumber, bought second-hand, I judged, from its appearance. In one room next to his, I found a lot of old clothes. I began routing among these, and in my eagerness forgot again the evident sharpness of his ears. I heard a stealthy footstep, and looking up just in time, saw him peering in at the tumbled heap, and holding an old-fashioned revolver in his hand. I stood perfectly still while he stared about open-mouthed and suspicious. It must have been her, he said slowly. Damn her. He shut the door quietly, and immediately I heard the key turn in the lock. Then his footsteps retreated. I realized abruptly that I was locked in. For a minute I did not know what to do. I walked from door to window and back, and stood perplexed. A gust of anger came upon me. But I decided to inspect the clothes before I did anything further, and my first attempt brought down a pile from an upper shelf. This brought him back, more sinister than ever. That time he actually touched me, jumped back with amazement and stood astonished in the middle of the room. Presently he calmed a little. "Rats," he said in an undertone, fingers on lips. He was evidently a little scared. I edged quietly out of the room, but a plank creaked. Then the infernal little brute started going all over the house, revolver in hand and locking door after door and pocketing the keys. When I realized what he was up to, I had a fit of rage. I could hardly control myself sufficiently to watch my opportunity. By this time I knew he was alone in the house, and so I made no more ado, but knocked him on the head. "Knocked him on the head," exclaimed Kemp. "Yes, stunned him as he was going downstairs. Hit him from behind with a stool that stood on the landing. He went downstairs like a bag of old boots. But I say, the common conventions of humanity are all very well for common people. But the point was, Kemp, that I had to get out of that house in a disguise without his seeing me. I couldn't think of any other way of doing it. And then I gagged him with a Louis XIV vest and tied him up in a sheet. Made a sort of bag of it. It was rather a good idea to keep the idiot scared and quiet, and a devilish hard thing to get out of, head away from the string. My dear Kemp, it's no good your sitting glaring as though I was a murderer. It had to be done. He had his revolver. If once he saw me, he would be able to describe me, but still," said Kemp, "in England today. And the man was in his own house, and you were, well, robbing. Robbing. Confound it. You'll call me a thief next. Surely, Kemp, you're not fool enough to dance on the old strings. Can't you see my position?" "And his too," said Kemp. The invisible man stood up sharply. "What do you mean to say?" Kemp's face grew a trifle hard. He was about to speak and checked himself. "I suppose, after all," he said with a sudden change of manner, "the thing had to be done. You were in a fix. But still, of course I was in a fix, an infernal fix. And he made me wild too, hunting me about the house, fooling about with his revolver, locking and unlocking doors. He was simply exasperating. You don't blame me, do you? You don't blame me?" "I never blame anyone," said Kemp. "It's quite out of fashion. What did you do next?" "I was hungry. Downstairs I found a loaf and some rank cheese, more than sufficient to satisfy my hunger. I took some brandy and water, and then went up past my impromptu bag. He was lying quite still, to the room containing the old clothes. This looked out upon the street, two lace curtains brown with dirt guarding the window. I went and peered out through their interstices. Outside the day was bright, by contrast with the brown shadows of the dismal house in which I found myself, dazzlingly bright. A brisk traffic was going by, fruit carts a hansom, a four-wheeler with a pile of boxes, a fishmonger's cart. I turned with spots of color swimming before my eyes to the shadowy fixtures behind me. My excitement was giving place to a clear apprehension of my position again. The room was full of a faint scent of benzoline used, I suppose, in cleaning garments. I began a systematic search of the place. I should judge the hunchback had been alone in the house for some time. He was a curious person. Everything that could possibly be of service to me I collected in a closed storeroom, and then I made a deliberate selection. I found a handbag I thought a suitable possession, and some powder, bleach, and sticking plaster. I had thought of painting and powdering my face and all that there was to show of me, in order to render myself visible, but the disadvantage of this lay in the fact that I should require turpentine and other appliances, and a considerable amount of time before I could vanish again. Finally, I chose a mask of the better type, slightly grotesque but not more so than many human beings, dark glasses, grayish whiskers, and a wig. I could find no underclothing, but that I could buy subsequently, and for the time I swathed myself in calico dominoes and some white cashmere scarves. I could find no socks, but the hunchback's boots were rather a loose fit and sufficed. In a desk in the shop were 3 sovereigns and about 30 shillings worth of silver, and in a locked cupboard I burst in an inner room were 8 pounds in gold. I could go forth into the world again, equipped. Then came a curious hesitation. Was my appearance really credible? I tried myself with a little bedroom looking glass, inspecting myself from every point of view to discover any forgotten chink, but it all seemed sound. I was grotesque to the theatrical pitch, a stage miser, but I was certainly not a physical impossibility. Gathering confidence, I took my looking glass down into the shop. pulled down the shop blinds and surveyed myself from every point of view with the help of the cheval glass in the corner. I spent some minutes screwing up my courage, and then unlocked the shop door and marched out into the street, leaving the little man to get out of his shoe again when he liked. In 5 minutes, a dozen turnings intervened between me and the costumier's shop. No one appeared to notice me very pointedly. My last difficulty seemed overcome. He stopped again. "And you troubled no more about the hunchback?" said Kemp. "No," said the invisible man. "Nor have I heard what became of him. I suppose he untied himself or kicked himself out. The knots were pretty tight." He became silent and went to the window and stared out. "What happened when you went out into the Strand?" "Oh, disillusionment again. I thought my troubles were over. Practically I thought I had impunity to do whatever I chose, everything, save to give away my secret. So I thought, whatever I did, whatever the consequences might be, was nothing to me. I had merely to fling aside my garments and vanish. No person could hold me. I could take my money where I found it. I decided to treat myself to a sumptuous feast, and then put up at a good hotel, and accumulate a new outfit of property. I felt amazingly confident. It's not particularly pleasant recalling that I was an ass. I went into a place and was already ordering lunch, when it occurred to me that I could not eat unless I exposed my invisible face. I finished ordering the lunch, told the man I should be back in 10 minutes, and went out exasperated. I don't know if you have ever been disappointed in your appetite. "Not quite so badly," said Kemp, "but I can imagine it. I could have smashed the silly devils." At last, faint with a desire for tasteful food, I went into another place and demanded a private room. "I am disfigured," I said. "Badly." They looked at me curiously, but of course it was not their affair, and so at last I got my lunch. It was not particularly well served, but it sufficed, and when I had had it, I sat over a cigar, trying to plan my line of action. And outside a snowstorm was beginning. The more I thought it over, Kemp, the more I realized what a helpless absurdity an invisible man was, in a cold and dirty climate, and a crowded civilized city. Before I made this mad experiment, I had dreamt of 1,000 advantages. That afternoon it seemed all disappointment. I went over the heads of the things a man reckons desirable. No doubt invisibility made it possible to get them, but it made it impossible to enjoy them when they are got. Ambition, what is the good of private place when you cannot appear there? What is the good of the love of woman where her name must needs be Delilah? I have no taste for politics, for the blackguardisms of fame, for philanthropy, for sport. What was I to do? And for this I had become a wrapped-up mystery, a swathed and bandaged caricature of a man. He paused, and his attitude suggested a roving glance at the window. "But how did you get to Iping?" said Kemp, anxious to keep his guest busy talking. "I went there to work. I had one hope. It was a half idea. I have it still. It is a full-blown idea now. A way of getting back, of restoring what I have done. When I choose. When I have done all I mean to do invisibly. And that is what I chiefly want to talk to you about now." "You went straight to Iping?" "Yes. I had simply to get my 3 volumes of memoranda and my checkbook, my luggage and underclothing, order a quantity of chemicals to work out this idea of mine. I will show you the calculations as soon as I get my books, and then I started. Jove, I remember the snowstorm now, and the accursed bother it was to keep the snow from damping my pasteboard nose. At the end," said Kemp, "the day before yesterday, when they found you out, you rather, to judge by the papers if they did. Rather. Did I kill that fool of a constable?" "No," said Kemp. "He's expected to recover. That's his luck then. I clean lost my temper, the fools. Why couldn't they leave me?"
Good morning. She already done had horses. How you
"There
doing?
are no deaths,"
I am well.
said
I
Kemp.
am doing well. I'm
"I
feeling
don't
pretty
know about
good.
that tramp
Getting
of
my
mine,"
exercise.
said the invisible man, with
About
an
halfway
unpleasant laugh.
halfway
"For
done.
heaven, Kemp, you don't know what rage is if you work for
Listening
days,
to my,
plotted, and then to get some fumbling
my
poke
book
in your messy
as read.
of course, every
Alexa,
conceivable
pause.
sort of
Wanted to thank you for subscribing. Sorry I didn't notice it. Oh, no, you're very welcome. I really like to support those. I mean, I'm brand new to Twitch. I like to. I I look around, I don't know, like, so established Twitch streamers, I found a few that I like, and I watch the ones with, you know, thousands of people, but mostly I like to look for people who are just starting out. I don't know why. So so glad I met you. Well, thank you. And I like to watch your stream and other streams of people who are just starting. Like in the super busy chats, it gets too chaotic for me. I don't really like a chat stream, you know, stream with chat where it's flying by. So, and there's plenty of cool people out there who are just getting started, so it's nice to look around and see who's new to this thing. So, yeah, you're welcome. Laying on the floor. I'm about 20 minutes in, I think, and I was just listening to my book. Thank you for the support. That is very kind of you. I agree. Even for me at this point, I'm getting quite overwhelmed, and I'm averaging 7 a day. Yeah, the experience is definitely very, very, you know, unique, different, because there's some people who I found with just like, say, 5 or 10 followers, maybe 20, like even a month ago, and they're kind of just, I don't know, for whatever reason. I mean, they do stream somewhat regularly, because they show up, since I follow them, you know, they show up on my little list, but it's just like nobody else ever sees that they're streaming, so they're kind of stuck. And other people goes quite quickly, so I don't know how it works. I was listening to a TikTok this morning, a guy on TikTok talking about how it works over there, and he was kind of, I mean, he didn't have any hard facts, but he was just sort of talking about how TikTok works. And yeah, it's interesting at each platform, just the technology behind it, I guess, is what the difference is. It's like YouTube. You can make some YouTube videos and basically nobody ever sees them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'm just trying to learn all these different things. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. I just think it's all, this whole area of technology is just going to grow more and more. So it's interesting to kind of get in on the beginnings. What I see it's kind of the beginnings. Now Twitch is kind of older, but I also think that it might have to adapt and change as these other platforms come into its space as far as live streaming goes. It'll be interesting to see. Like a lot to digest. I'm 24, but I'm still a dinosaur when it comes to tech. Yeah, there's a lot of the accessibility, you know, because like TikTok, all you need is any kind of, even an older phone, and you can put anything on there. Twitch, it's a little bit higher. You need a little bit more. You know, you probably need basically some kind of laptop. Although you definitely can, with the Twitch app or the Streamlabs app, you can do Twitch with just a mobile phone. I mean, you can stream mobile games, but you can't do, you know, a camera. I suppose you could use two. You could do like a bot account on one phone. I don't know. It's not really designed that way. It's just interesting how the tech's gonna work out. Since I work in the area, in the tech area, for my job, my real job, it is stuff I like to kind of keep up on and check out. Yes, that's what's great about Twitch, I suppose. Yeah, it's very interesting. get to meet a lot of different people, a lot of new people. I don't know, for me, I think it's good for the world as a whole. The more we know other people. If you look at the way things were 100 years ago, or, you know, not to get too political or philosophical, but like things like wars and stuff, if somebody is a faceless non-human, then having a war with somebody is easier than if it's, you know, people that you know. If you're on Twitch or TikTok and you know there's a bunch of people just like you somewhere else, I just feel like the chance of us all getting along and getting, you know, by knowing each other in some way, it seems like we're all going to be better to each other. But I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I got off to a pretty good start this morning. It's still pretty early here. What is it, 7? Oh, it's almost 7:30. And I got about 5 more minutes left on the rowing machine, and I'll get myself some breakfast. We are 79. Good morning. Yeah, I got kind of a busy day. I got a project for work I got to do that's going to probably take, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. Got at least one meeting. We're in a heat advisory here, so they'll only be going out of the house to walk the dogs every few hours. Want to be hot. Henry is currently laying on the floor waiting. He's fine. He's out of the picture. Oh, I didn't turn that orientation back. That camera got turned sideways, and so then I just expanded it. Not that it really matters. I mean, but he's out of the Henry cam by about 3 feet. Away from the little futon you can see in the picture there, about 3 more feet towards what would be the top of the screen. He's just sitting there waiting, and as soon as I stop rowing, he'll notice that, and then when he hears the Velcro of these shoe straps, he'll be all over me like, "Are you finished? Hold me, pick me up." So he'll get himself a cameo here in about 5 minutes when I'm finished. Yeah, when I see other streamers with like cat or dog cams or whatever, like lizard cam or tarantula cam is easy because, or even a bird cam because they're in a cage, but Henry runs around. Sometimes he'll sit in one spot, but he's just as likely to be running around. What a cutie. Yeah, he is. He thinks he is. He knows he is. I think I was doing okay on my form earlier. Get distracted. Oh wow, look at that. It says 30 minutes. Alright. I'm going to go 1 more minute or so, maybe 2. I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good. I exercise Monday through Saturday. Today being Friday, that means I just have 1 more day. I've been at 30 minutes for, what, 3 weeks now, maybe? 4 weeks? I don't know, a long while. I feel like I should probably go up higher, but I don't know. This is working pretty good for me. I don't want to burn myself out or get, discouraged or overdo it. I mean, everybody's different. I watch some streamers, Twitch streamers, who stream on the fitness and health. Some of them, man, they just go for it. Of course, most of them are 30 years younger than me or 35 years younger than me. So that's, to me, that's like, yeah, if you're 25 and you're pushing yourself for an hour, that's great, that's awesome. But I think I'm just gonna call a half hour good, since I'm a little bit older and I had heart surgery. The fact that I'm doing this at all, the impact is different depending on how old you are and your health conditions. So I'm just hoping my blood pressure, the biggest thing that this should help with, besides my back, is my diabetes. I had 2 diabetes for several years, and basically just because of being overweight. So although I'm not weighing myself, I think my diabetes should get better and better. Maybe I can lower my meds. We'll see. That's 32 minutes. I guess we'll go 32 and a half. We'll go over here for another 30 seconds. I think I need to see my cardiologist. Not because I'm feeling bad, but because I don't know when the last time I was at the cardiologist. I'm going to try to figure that out today. Got to figure out what phone number to call them, I suppose. 32 and a half minutes. Let's see how quick Henry jumps up. Oh, yep, as soon as the Velcro, he was right up. Come on, boy. I need some water. Stand up. Here's the hard part. Oh. Up, Henry. I don't think dogs look up. Do if there's a reason. All right. Thank you all for stopping in. We are done. We got to move on to the next part of our day, get some breakfast. Our little talking thing. Bye. Spell it. That won't work. Exclamations or not.
You'll have a great day.
So we're, Henry and I are out of here. We're going to stream ending. Bye. Oh, wait. Bye.